Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch and today we're going to take a look at a powerhouse of the standard format. It is Kyurem VMAX. This card is incredibly powerful and with potentially unlimited damage it's capable of taking knockouts on just about anything. Let's talk about what makes Kyurem so good in standard right now. It's a 330 HP water type VMAX, which is super high. It's very difficult to knock out Kyurem in one shot without applying weakness, and it's weak to metal, which at the moment is a type that's not very well represented in the standard format. It has an attack that's incredibly powerful. For 3 water energy, we can use Max Frost, does 120 damage, plus we can discard any amount of water energy from this Pokemon, and then for every water energy we've discarded, we can deal an extra 50 damage. That means if we have 3 water energy on our Kyurem, we deal 120, and if we elect to discard all 3, we can add up an extra 150 to deal 270 damage. That's going to be knocking out almost all V-Stars, apart from those that have 280, but you can get there with a choice belt, or you can get there simply with a 4th energy. But Mitch, I hear you ask, how can you possibly continue to attach energies to a Kyurem? Well, it's actually really easy because of the ability Glaciated World. This ability says once during your turn, you may discard the top card of your deck. Doesn't seem super great, but if that card is a water energy, instead of discarding it, you can attach it to one of your Pokemon. Now this is super good, considering the fact that for every Kyurem we have, we can potentially attach a water energy, provided it's on top of the deck. That's really cool, but how do we guarantee that those water energy get there? Why, with Primate Wisdom Oranguru. This card has been a staple in the Sword and Shield format since the very first set of this block. Primate Wisdom is the key. Once during your turn, we can switch a card from our hand with the top card of our deck. So not only do we get to look at the top card of our deck and put it into our hand, we also get to guarantee that the card on the very top of the deck is going to be a water energy. That means if we have 3 Kyurem VMAX in play, which is the amount that we run in this deck, as well as a couple of Oranguru, we can theoretically attach an extra 3 energy every turn if we get just that slightly little bit lucky. Now, talking about good cards in standard, Origin Form Palkia VSTAR is also in this deck. We know it's good because of its attack, Subspace Swell, which for 2 water energy deals 20 damage plus 20 for every benched Pokemon on both yours and your opponent's side. But the real key here for this deck is the Star Portal, V-Star Power. Since Kyurem doesn't have a V-Star Power, it's a VMAX, we can use Palkia to build the amount of energy that we have on the field by a bunch. We can get 3 extras with Star Portal, which means that after we've discarded 3 energy off of a Kyurem, we can actually go straight back in and Star Portal those energies back on. That's an extra 150 damage just for declaring this Star Portal ability, and that can sometimes be the difference between winning and losing a game. Because all we need are these really strong cards to attack with, there's plenty of space for other stuff. We get to play a huge amount of cards. In particular, we get to play Energy Search cards out the wazoo. Capacious Bucket, 4 copies of that. We've also got Energy Retrieval to pull energies out of the discard pile, which is super strong. We play 4 copies of Melony, so we can accelerate more energy out of the discard pile if we need to, and draw some cards as well. But I think the really critical thing that this deck plays is 1 copy of Wash Water Energy. It doesn't seem like it would be that big of a deal, and it doesn't actually interact with lots of the cards that we've talked about so far, but as long as this card is attached to one of our Pokemon, it provides a water energy, and prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to the water Pokemon this card is attached to. That is super cool. There are a bunch of effects of attacks that at the moment are dealing lots of damage, namely Sableye. That card is very strong, and its effect is not going to work through this Wash Energy. Or at least now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't. I'm probably wrong. No, I'm right. I'm definitely right. I have to be. And if I'm not, you can comment down below. I think this deck is very, very powerful. It doesn't have a huge amount of tricks, but it's definitely strong enough, and it has been doing really, really well in the last couple of regional events. Let's take it out onto the standard ladder and see if Max Frost can take a couple of KOs. Game time, and we're going first, and I tell you what, this is a hand and a half. We have 3 copies of VIP Battle Pass, so we are going to go really, really hard here. We're going to grab a Kyurem, a Palkia. We are going to throw down the second Battle Pass and grab ourselves an Oranguru and a Greninja. And then, as if that weren't enough, we'll play another one and we'll grab ourselves a second Oranguru. I like that. I like drawing cards with concealed cards. Let's discard a Water Energy. Oh my god, this is just going perfectly. We've got an energy we can attach to the active. We've got a Training Court we can play to grab that energy back. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this. Let's Primate Wisdom to the top. This Kyurem is the only card we need next turn, and Kyurem's already on top. That's pretty good. Okay, so we have had an absolutely cracked opening hand. I don't think anyone's ever seen a deck pop off that much. And now we get to find out what our opponent is playing. They have a Sobble in the active. They have a Remoraid that they've searched for. They have fighting type deck sleeves. Perhaps we're going to see Rapid Strike Urshifu. That could be a little bit frightening, although to be fair, at this stage, I feel like I'm probably going to be able to win, just because they are going to need to go a little bit slower than we are, and no Rapid Strike Urshifu turn 1 is really, really bad. We have 2 Kyurems here. Let's use our concealed cards and see what we can find. A Melony and an Irida. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, we're going to win this game. We have absolutely popped off here. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, the amount of stuff that we've done. We can Irida, we can grab ourselves a copy of Palkia VSTAR, grab ourselves a Capacious Bucket, and this will guarantee an attack this turn. We can search for 2 energy, chuck those into our hand. We can attach 1, and then we can put the second one on top of the deck with Primate Wisdom. That is very, very nice. Grabbing the Lost Vacuum there is perfectly fine as well, don't mind that. We will use Glaciated World to attach to the active, and then we can even use it a second time. Primate Wisdom with our second Oranguru. There's another energy on top. We could have just got it with Glaciated World anyway. Oh my goodness, we can accelerate an energy here. We can attach again if we want. We can even use Training Court if we'd like. This has gone exceptionally. Let's attach to, I don't know, do we need to attach maybe to the Palkia? We can Training Court, grab that energy back, and now, all that we need to do is take a knockout with Max Frost. We are a prize in front, we don't need to discard any water energies. All we need to do now is make sure that we're taking knockouts every turn, and we should be able to win. We should be pretty good. We should be fine. We'll wait and see what the 3 or 4 cards in our opponent's hand are. Drizzile, so they will be able to set themselves up a little bit here, but I think it might be a little too late. It might be a little too late. It's like I feel like that's a song of some description. It might be a little too late. Quick Ball from Benjamin16, grabbing themselves, presumably, a copy of Urshifu. We still haven't seen an attacker. There it is. So that's going to come into the active here. Not into the active, sorry, onto the field of play here. And we are going to see that bucket, not that bucket, oh my goodness, what's going on? The stadium replaced by a Tower of Waters. Then just the pass. It is as simple as that for us. Well, I mean, I was going to say all we need to do is draw into a boss's orders, and we've done that. We were going to concealed cards for it, but now there's no point. I mean, we can still use the ability, but it is as simple now as just putting an energy on top of the deck with Primate Wisdom, and yeah, it's over. That's bonkers. We had a cracked start. It showed nothing, but I'm going to keep it in. Let's play another one. Not quite as good a start this time, ladies and gentlemen, but still okay. We have a Battle Pass. We have a Greninja and a Kyurem, so that's good. We've got Irida, we've got Melony, we've got VMAX in our hands. We can also search our top 5 cards with a Rotom Phone. Let's see what card we'd like to put on top of the deck. I would like an energy, frankly. I think that water energy would be nice. We are going to draw into it here off of the concealed cards. This will give us access to Melony next turn if we want it. The key thing for us at the moment, though, is that we are currently sat with a Palkia in the active. We would prefer to have the Kyurem, but at least we have the Air Balloon. I think this is an okay start, but depending on what our opponent throws down, we could have a very difficult game on our hands. If we're seeing a Sableye based deck, then we will struggle a little bit. It's going to be awkward, right? We need to take 6 knockouts. They only really need to take 3. If we're up against Giratina, which I'm sure we'll find out in a second thanks to this VIP Battle Pass, if we're up against Giratina, we've got a little bit of a better chance. I'm not sure whether this is a good matchup in general or not. I feel like it's 50-50. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure if someone had a little bit more experience with the deck, they would be able to tell you. But I tell you what, if people have to be playing Kyurem for a reason. If it can't beat the deck that we're up against right now, then it's probably not worth playing at all. But you know what? It's still pretty good. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's bad, because I don't think that it's bad, but there's definitely an area we can improve on if this matchup is not great. What am I talking about? I don't even know what the matchup is yet. I've seen Comfort. I've seen a Clara. A Clara. Probably Sableye. Probably. Not certain. Possible. Hey, listen, thank you, by the way, for watching. If you've been enjoying the videos so far on Pokemon TCG Live, leave a like. That would be great. I've seen a bit of a dip in views. I'm putting that down to the end of format fatigue that lots of people get. But if you're not watching the video because I'm doing it on live, then oh, fine, whatever. What do I care about that? That's such a dumb reason to not watch it. It's the same game. We're playing the same game. It's Pokemon cards. Guys, it's Pokemon cards. If you're not watching the videos because instead you're shifting to another game like Marvel Snap, then I can completely get behind that. I've been playing a lot of Marvel Snap myself, and I think it's pretty cool. I would like to make videos on other games. Maybe I should. Maybe I should make videos on other games that I like. Bearing in mind, of course, that I don't like a huge amount of other games. It is a Sableye deck, by the way. We've seen that Sableye come down. The entire bench is full. There's no Giratinas. You'd expect that that's going to be the entire thing. So now it's our turn to try and get a victory here. We've got an Oranguru, we've got an Evo Incense to evolve our Palkia in the active, and we have the ability to retreat as well. So that means we're going to find this relatively easy. The question is, do we Irida or Melony? Maybe we wait until we've concealed cards. We take a look at the top couple and see how we go. Melony is jumping out at me as the correct option at the moment, but we don't need to. We could Irida. It is definitely possible to Irida right here. I think Melony is still the correct choice though. Give ourselves a couple of extra cards, as well as accelerate that energy without having to go overboard. We will also use Primate Wisdom to put an energy on top of the deck, and now the Glaciated World from Kyurem will be active. We know that for a fact. So let's retreat into our Kyurem, and then use Glaciated World to accelerate an energy. We know that it's on the top. Click on the card, Mitch. Come on, mate. You can do it. And then, like, there's an argument to playing down the second Kyurem. I don't think we need to, per se. I think I actually want to get rid of it and go for a Ultra Ball here. Maybe I just grab another Kyurem. We could grab Crobat. What's the best choice? It's probably just another Kyurem. Because we don't need the 4 of them. We probably only need 2. So I'm hopeful here. I'm feeling pretty good. We can Training Court. We can grab ourselves the energy back. We can even attach it to the Palkia, which I'm a big fan of. And then we can simply Max Frost. We don't need to discard any of our energy. It can remain on our Kyurem. We don't need to discard anything. The only time we would even need to discard something is if our opponent played Giratina. And I don't think that we're going to see it. Now, let's talk about the issue with this matchup. It's going to be tough if that Sableye gets attacking. 120 damage every turn is going to be very, very hard to deal with. If they end up attacking with a Radiant Charizard, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to deal with. We want to force our opponent into a really awkward spot. If I could get a knockout with Radiant Greninja, I'd feel really good. But in order to do that, I would need to boss up Manaphy and hope that our opponent couldn't put it back, which is a bit of a stretch. I don't think there's many people playing the single prize version of this deck that don't have some really easy recovery cards. There's a Fire Energy, so it's definitely the very small single prizer version. Here comes the Comfy into the active. I see a whole bunch of flower selecting here. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand and one in the Lost Zone. This is obviously a staple of these Lost Zone decks, but it does take a little bit of time. I don't like that. I don't like that escape rope. We're going to put the Palkia in the active. I don't see that as a particularly nice thing to do. We're going to hope that them hitting into this Palkia is not that big of a deal. Hopefully they just go with a cram into this Palkia. Although, to be fair, at the moment, they haven't got one. So that's a good sign. If there's no cram in their hand, if they don't have Cramorant, if they don't have that card, and we get an extra attack here, we should be okay. Maybe they're clawing for it. Which, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. That is one thing that I would really like PTCG Live to do a little bit better, is show me the cards that they got off the Clara. I mean, it's pretty obvious what those cards are, but I would like to see them. Even if they just go and pop up on the screen for like 2 seconds, that would be excellent. What I'd really like to do, actually, with Live is I'd like to have a sit-down conversation with... Oh my god, they're playing Escape Rope again! Okay, Kyurem to the active again. I'd really like to have a sit-down conversation with the developers of this game and ask them some questions. That would be really cool. Talk to them about the process, talk to them about the game. I think that would be great, but I'm not expecting that would ever happen. Alright, what have we got? We've got a very interesting selection of cards in our hand, and I'm not sure that any of them are particularly good right here. I mean, the choice belts are definitely not good. Let's Primate Wisdom and just chuck the Choice Belt on the top of the deck. We definitely don't need that. And Irida, okay. We're going to Glaciated World away the Choice Belt. We just don't want it. Just going to get rid of it. We don't need to accelerate energy per se. We just need to make sure that we're drawing into cards we want. And I don't want the Choice Belt. Now, we're probably best off playing Irida here. Like I said, we'd need to boss to knock out the Manaphy in order to get an attack going with the Greninja. I don't think that's worth it. Empoleon is definitely a card that we need, though. So we can grab that. Actually, is there a world? Is there a world where this happens? Okay, we're gonna try something here. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna play down this Empoleon. We're gonna retreat. We're going to Star Portal, and we're going to hope that the Empoleon is able to stay in the active. Last turn, our opponent played multiple copies of Escape Rope, so I'm going to hope that there's no boss in that hand. We're going to accelerate 3 energies from our discard pile with Star Portal onto our Empoleon. And we are going to Swirling Slice. So, the good thing about Empoleon here is it has the ability Emperor's Eyes. And it essentially means that basic Pokemon with no rule boxes don't have abilities. So the Manaphy at the moment doesn't have an ability. The Flower Selecting Comfy, more importantly, doesn't have an ability. If this Empoleon can stay in the active in this matchup for long enough, we might be able to get going here. Our opponent just lost a boss's orders off of that Pokestop, which is very good. That's another way to get the Empoleon out. Remember, the Empoleon's ability only works when it's in the active position. So if they use a Gust to bring out another Pokemon, or if they use Escape Rope, then we won't be able to use the ability, and those Comfies will be live again. But I think that this Empoleon, if it buys us a turn, we might be in a good spot, because it's currently 6-4, right, on prizes. You can see that on the other side of the screen, just over there, 6-4. So I like our odds. The issue is this Empoleon can easily be knocked out by a Charizard in a couple of turns. It can also be easily knocked out and removed from the active by like Sableye and stuff. So I'm imagining that this Lost Mine here is going to put 12 damage counters on the Empoleon, which is not great. That's why we need that Wash Energy, by the way. If we can put the Wash Energy on the Empoleon, maybe we stand a bit more of a chance. Maybe. Let's wait and see where this Sableye puts its damage. I'm assuming it's going to go on the active, but I really hope we can just find the Wash Energy here. If we can find the Wash Energy, then I think we're in for a really close game. Really close. Looks like our opponent is setting up to take a knockout with a Sableye next turn. We're actually set up into a position where any of our potential Pokemon could get knocked out. Let's quick ball for a Crobat. Do we have the Wash in the deck? We do. Okay, so Crobat will only be drawing us one. Let's Melony will attach to the active, and let's just hope that we draw it. That's not it. Okay, so we will Capacious Bucket. I don't think we actually pick up. We can pick up the energy. Don't. I was about to be like, we don't pick it up if we want a Crobat, but you know what? We may as well just use all of these Capacious Buckets. We may as well just find all of the energy and just chuck it into our hand and hope that we get it next time. Maybe we could even get it off of the concealed cards potentially. Another bucket. Why, that's frustrating. Why, that is frustrating. Okay, so we could get it off of this Primate Wisdom, though. Water Energy to the top. Do we get the Wash? We don't. Okay, great. Well, let's Glaciated World. We will attach an energy. We're going to put it on the Kyurem. We're going to Quick Ball away the Battle Pass. We are going to grab the Oranguru. Do we try one more time? I think we might. We are going to Oranguru. Let's use Primate Wisdom here. And just hope that we get the Wash Energy. Can we get the Wash Energy off of the top deck? Let's give it a crack. We'll put the Melony on the top. No. Alrighty then. Frustrating, but workable. We'll put the Choice Belt down onto the Kyurem, and then we will Swirling Slice. We'll take a knockout. Our opponent can easily get a KO with the Sableye if they have the energy. But the question is, are we going to be able to take 6 prizes before our opponent? We have 3 more left to take. So 3 more turns of attacking. Our opponent can take 2 prizes this turn. They can theoretically take another couple of prizes the turn after. The Charizard is an option. They've got a lot of potential. Their line of play is actually quite simple. So if they Lost Mine into the active, then next turn take a knockout on the Oranguru with Lost Mine, then all they need is a Charizard to knock out the Kyurem VMAX, and they will win. They will win the game. We are very close, though, because even though they take a knockout on the Empoleon, we can promote a Palkia, and then hopefully we can set ourselves up to try and win the game regardless. I think it's possible. I think we can achieve it. I'm not sure. Our opponent only has 3 cards left, which means that we are at least limiting their resources a bit. They're going to take 2 prizes, though. Maybe if we have access to... Or we don't have access to Roxanne. So I was about to say, maybe if we have access to Roxanne, we can do something. But we don't. We don't have it, so it's not worth talking about. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Okay, here we go. So this is actually getting pretty close. This game's getting pretty close. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Alright, there's that Melony that we put on the top last turn. We kind of want to take a knockout on this Sableye. We want to put the pressure on, if we can. We want to put the pressure on, whilst not giving our opponent an easy path to victory. Let's Primate Wisdom. We'll put the energy on top again. We'll see what we get. Lost Vacuum. Fair enough. We don't need to play that, per se. Ooh, now I'm thinking. Now I'm a thinky boy. What do we got? We got so many options. We got so many cards. Let's just Glaciated World and get rid of that Water Energy. We'll put it on Greninja. And then I think... Like, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think our best play is just to knock out the Sableye with the Palkia in the active. I don't want to give them the Training Court. I don't want to use any of our supporters, really. Like, I don't really want a boss. We could Melony, but I don't need to, and I don't want to put a Kyurem down. We could Irida, but I don't need anything. I don't want for anything in this world. I want for nothing. Let's Primate Wisdom. put the Palkia on the top and see what we get in Ultra Ball. Okay, so with Ultra Ball we can probably thin some cards. I think that's fine. We'll Ultra Ball away the Kyurem and the Lost Vacuum because we don't care about that, and then we'll just grab a card. Doesn't really matter which one it is. There's a lot of cards in the deck. That Wash Energy, we were kind of hopeful that we could just get that, but does not matter. Let's play down the Training Court. We'll give our opponent access to the Sableye. Hopefully we can find the Wash Energy, and we don't. Okay. Let's Melony. Maybe we find it off of that. Although, to be fair, it doesn't really matter if we find it off of this. Now that I'm thinking about it, we didn't find it anyway. The important card in this matchup is still not in our hand. It is unfathomable. Unfathomable. Alright, we probably attach this energy. I'm thinking the Radiant Greninja. It's still a threatening attacker, so we'll put that there. It's not going to take a knockout in the active, but could theoretically take a knockout. We'll take a KO here, knock out the Sableye with energy. They have the knockout on a Pokemon if they want it. They can use Sableye to get a KO, no worries at all. They can also use Charizard to get a knockout if they want to. They can use Charizard, attach a Fire Energy, knock out the Palkia. That's why we've got the Greninja. We can Greninja into the Charizard in the active, which should knock it out, I think. If that's how weakness and resistance works. If it doesn't, then we're in a bit more strife. I feel like this game is very slowly slipping away. Not sure that we're in a great position, but the game is still, like, it's still alive. It's still okay. I see a Sableye here, probably knocking out the Radiant Greninja. It's turns like this where I'd love like a Roxanne or a Marnie. Just something to reduce our opponent's hand size would be nice. We may go down to one prize. We'll take a knockout next turn, but there's no guarantee that it's going to be enough to win us the game. Here comes the scoop up net. And yeah, whiffing that Wash Energy on the Empoleon could potentially cost us. Could potentially cost us here. But hey, at least this game's gone longer than the last one. I think that's the critical one. We've at least played, which I think is important. I think that's relatively important. I need a nap. I'm very, very tired. Oh boy. This is what happens when you play against the Lost Zone. You just fall asleep. Is it my turn yet? Friend, is it my turn? Can we click attack, please? Here comes the Lost Mine. Okay. Lost Mine will knock out Radiant Greninja. It's a little bit frustrating. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're all going to be fine. 130 damage on the active, and then we're probably going to... on the Greninja, and then probably going to see some damage on the active. Yes, okay. Oh, man. Oh, gosh. I really shouldn't sit here. I shouldn't... Kids, don't play Pokemon when you're tired. You're going to hurt yourself. Something's going wrong and you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, so what is our play? Our play is as simple as attack with the Palkia and hope that it's enough, right? It's gotta be it. That's gotta be it. Is there anything that we can do? Is there any game that we can play? There's the Wash Energy. Thanks, game. Appreciate it, guys. Let's Glaciated World away this VIP Battle Pass. We don't ever want to see that again. I mean... We'll We'll Primate Wisdom a Kyurem to the top. What else do we get? Battle Pass again. Great. Well, I mean, we may as well just attach this Wash Energy. We could probably just attack as well. It's all down to our opponents, really. Let's play the Irida. Let's have a look at the last 5 cards of our deck and see if there's anything worth grabbing here. There's really not. There's really nothing going on. At least we can get rid of this bucket if we want to. I'm really just delaying the inevitable here. Let's attach the Wash Energy to the Kyurem. Just that way, Sableye won't be able to attack into it. Not that they want to. They want to attack with something else. We will play the bucket, and then we'll just click the attack on the Palkia, and we will hope that our opponent whiffs the following cards. They need to whiff Fire Energy. Better take a prize, I don't know. They need to whiff Fire Energy. They need to whiff Charizard. And they need to whiff Boss's Orders. They have a 6-card hand. They have 3 Comfeys in play. I think they are relatively likely to get it, especially considering the energy is in play with Training Court. But the critical bit here is that I think we have held our own very well, and if we'd found a Empoleon earlier, it was prized, or the Wash Energy earlier, it was in the bottom 7 cards of our deck, then we would have probably been able to buy a turn, and that turn could have equaled that one prize that we are down. So I still think that the deck's got a good matchup against Giratina. It's good enough, 50-50. Like I said, it's definitely winnable. It's definitely not guaranteed. Here comes that Charizard. So we probably see the knockout here. Here's a scoop up net. Charizard to the active. Yeah, beautiful. That's that lovely fire animation. Boss's orders to bring out the Kyurem, and then we will see 230 damage from the Radiant Charizard. Combustion Blast takes the KO. Lost Box wins the game, but ultimately Kyurem is the winner in my heart. It did a pretty good job. Like, it was successfully holding its own against Lost Box for pretty much the whole game. So there you have it, a very, very powerful VMAX Pokemon that's capable of taking on pretty much anything. I think we did a pretty good job there. That Lost Box game I would have loved to have won, but you know what? I think it's worth showing because it's just the way that that game goes sometimes. We've got the cards to counter it, just didn't end up happening. But you know what did happen? You enjoyed the video, you liked the video, you subscribed to the channel, and these people over here were generously willing to contribute to make this channel a better place for everyone. If you want to become a channel member, there's a link down in the description as well as the join button down below. And if you don't want to become a member, then you can click on this, which is a button that will take you to a video about Blissey. Click this bad boy, the deck is free. It's free on live, just play it, it's pretty good.